Good afternoon, everyone. So before we start, let us pray first, and that will be led by Miss Sapo.
Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, as we gather for this class, we ask for your guidance and grace to help us learn and grow in this time and in this place. Amen.
Let me introduce to you the reporter of Group 10. Sapo Donna Marie, Barcelona Grace Ann, me Barcela Joanna May, Barayoga Joanna Marie, Barayoga Christianel, Bantayan Melody Guinet, Baliber Mary Angeli.
Our lesson is all about teaching methods, techniques, and strategies in EPP or TLE.
Our lesson objectives: acquire various strategies in teaching TLE, both in blended and online learning. Demonstrate the learned strategies. Share learning strategies from observations done in the previous courses.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maria Angeli Baliver po, the first reporter on this lesson po. The factors which determine method to be used. First is the aim of education. So, the aim of education is the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. It helps to adjust properly in one's own environment. The second is the school environment. A learning environment is a place where learners feel comfortable, encouraged, and inspired by their surroundings. The third is a nature of the child. Children have a core nature, a set of automatically triggered perceptions, priorities, values, and meanings that are present at birth, identifiable at an early age, and largely unchanging over time. The fourth is the education of the teachers. Teachers are important because they change lives, inspire dreams, and push the limits of human potential. A teacher's job is to nurture, teach, and raise children to become useful to society. The last is the nature of the subject matter. It consists of the facts observed, recalled, read, and talked about, and the ideas suggested in course of a development of a situation having a purpose. Any method to be effective must have the following characteristics. So the first characteristic is the method must utilize the theory of self-activity. The second, it should utilize the laws of learning, law of readiness, exercise, and effect. The third, it must aid the learner in defining his purpose. The fourth, it should be based on the accepted will integrative education theory and practice which is designed to unify the work of teaching and learning. The fifth, the method must stimulate the thinking and learning powers of the students. And the last characteristic is it should be suited to the progress of the students in skills, ability, habits, knowledge, ideas, and attitudes. So, ito pong 6 characteristics na nabanggit ko po ay it's very important na may apply natin sa ating students. And para mas maging effective po yung characteristic is kailangan natin na pumalo sa method na nagawa natin. So, the next is techniques of teaching. The first technique of teaching is technique is a specific way of doing a particular task in the process of teacher guidance of students' learning activities by Williamson Leal. So the first one po, ang pinaka-point for this is that the method that utilizes the theory of self-activity encourage learners to be active participants in their own learning journey, fostering a deeper understanding and long-term retention of knowledge. The second technique refers to the quality of the activities executed by the teacher and presenting the subject matter to the students. So, sa pangalawa naman po, ang pinaka-point naman dyan is that the theory of self-activity utilizing the laws of learning. suggests that learners should be actively engaged in activities that match their readiness and interests. So, through practice, repetition, and positive reinforcement, learners can enhance their understanding, retention, and motivation to learn. So, the last technique is it is essentially technical skill of the teacher in accomplishing the task of teaching. So, syempre, kung may clear intentions or purpose ang students, they are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and committed to their learning, leading to a more meaningful and fulfilling educational experience.
So, good afternoon everyone. I am the next reporter. My name is Melody Gwyneth Bibantayan, and I'm going to discuss teaching aid. Teaching aids are physical means employed by the teacher for the purpose of emphasizing, clarifying, or vitalizing instruction. So, teaching aids are a tool and resources by the educators to enhance the learning experiences of the students. These aids can include visual aids, audiovisual aids, models, charts, and other physical items that help to emphasize, clarify, or bring vitality to the instruction being delivered. So, visual aids are very crucial in engaging students, reinforcing key concepts and making learning more interactive and effective. So, when teaching aids used thoughtfully, teaching aids can greatly improve the comprehension and retention of educational contents. So, these are the kinds of instructional aid. First one is general instructional supplies. General instructional supplies are the basic tools that used in teaching. These can include items such as markers, papers, chalk, whiteboards, and other everyday materials that teachers use to facilitate learning and convey information. Next is printed or written materials, books, periodicals, charts, clippings, and etc. So, printed or written materials encompass a wide range of resources, including books, articles, charts, and clippings. So, these materials can provide written information on various objects and are very essential for in-depth study and reference for the students. So, the next one is visual aid. Radio presentation, plays, and dramatization. So, visual aids are tools that help students see or imagine concepts in different ways. For the radio presentation, it is used to use sounds and to create mental images and convey information to students. Plays and dramatizations involve live performances or enactments of stories or concepts, making the learning more engaging and memorable. The last one is concrete materials, exhibits, museums collection, measuring equipment tools, laboratory apparatuses. So, the concrete materials are physical objects that students can touch and interact with to be better understanding for the lesson. This category includes exhibits, museum collections, measuring equipment tools, and laboratory apparatus. These are the hands-on materials, provide tangible experiences, and enhance learning and comprehension by doing hands-on activities. Characteristics of good visual aid. First is large enough to be visible to everybody in the group. Avoid decoration and prevent distraction. So, a good visual aid should be large enough to be visible for everybody in the group. ensuring that all students can see the content clearly. So as a teacher or educator, it is important to avoid unnecessary decoration and elements that can cause distraction for the students, allowing the focus to remain on the key information being represented. This ensures that the visual aid effectively serves its purpose of enhancing learning and understanding without creating unnecessary visual distractions. The second one is terminology should be limited within the comprehension of the learner. So, limiting terminology within the comprehension of the learners ensures that the language used in the visual aid is appropriate for the student's understanding. This means using vocabulary and language that align with the student's current knowledge and skill level. By doing so, the visual aids become more accessible and effective in conveying information, preventing confusion and promoting clear understanding among the learners. The third one is the constant use of stand in the classroom should play an important role. This statement suggests that the consistent use of particular stand or support structure in the classroom serves a significant purpose. It implies that the stand has a specific function or impact within the educational environment, possibly in relation to the supporting instructional materials, displaying visual aids, or organizing learning resources. For their context, it would be very helpful for the students to have a teacher must consistent use of it. The last one is it should be mounted in such way as to make portable, which is permit its use more than one location. So, mounting a stand in a way that makes it portable allows for its use in more than one location, providing flexibility and versatility in the classroom. This feature enables educators to easily move the stand and its content to different areas within the learning environment, facilitating dynamic instructional approaches and accommodating various instructional needs across the different spaces. Methods of teaching. Demonstration method. First, showing what it is to be learned. So, the demonstration method is a teaching approach that involves showing students what is to be learned. This can achieve through visual presentations, practical applications, or live performances to illustrate concepts and processes. It is often utilized in conjunction with practice lectures, discussions, and experimental activities, providing the students with a hands-on understanding of the subject matter. Second is it is often used in connection with the practice lecture, discussion, and experiments. So, this method is particularly effective in engaging students and enhancing their comprehension through active participation. By employing actual performances using real objects and models, educators can create a dynamic and interactive learning experiences. For example, in a science class, a teacher may demonstrate a chemical reaction using laboratory equipment, allowing students to observe and process firsthand. Similarly, in a language class, for example, a teacher may demonstrate proper pronunciation or language usage through live examples. The last one is it is done by actual performance using the real objects and model Webster. So, demonstration method can also be combined with other instructional techniques such as discussions or group activities. to reinforce learning and encourage student involvement. By incorporating visual and tangible elements, educators can cater to diverse learning styles and promote a deeper understanding of the subject matter. So, overall, the demonstration method serves as a valuable tool for educators to actively engage students, promote interactive learning, and provide practical applications of the academic content.
Suggestion for preparation of a demonstration. The first one must determine the specific purposes to be carried in. Purpose of preparing for a demonstration teaching is to enhance teaching and learning by providing a practical and illustrative example of effective instructional practices, fostering professional development, and creating opportunities for feedback and improvement. 2. Study the materials to be taught. By thoroughly studying and preparing the materials, you ensure that your demonstration is so well organized, engaging, and aligned with the learning objectives. Number 3. Prepare a complete lesson plan. Preparing a complete lesson plan is crucial for effective teaching as it promotes clarity, organization, adaptability, and student engagement. Number 3. Check on the availability of equipment. By proactively checking the availability of equipment and planning accordingly, you can ensure a smooth and effective teaching demonstration. Number 4. Rehearse your demo. Rehearsing your demo is a crucial step in effective preparation. It enhances your familiarity with the content, ensure a smooth delivery, improves adaptability, and builds confidence. Outline the steps on the blackboard. Outlining steps on the blackboard is an effective instructional strategy that enhances clarity, organization, and engagement. Be sure everyone can hear. The importance of clear voice during a lesson demonstration cannot be overstated. It is fundamental aspects of effective teaching, promoting communication, clarity, students' engagement, and an inclusive learning environment. And the last one was prepare written materials. The preparation of written materials is integral to effective demonstration teaching. It enhances communication, supports diverse learning styles, and contributes to the overall organization and professionalism of a teaching process.
Discussion method. Discussion means there is difference of opinion, temporarily at least concerning a situation. Involves an interchange of questions and idea among the participants. Discussions are commonly used as a pedagogical tool to promote critical thinking, collaboration, and a deeper understanding of subject matter. Types of discussion on how to start group discussion. The first one was the class discussion. These discussions are powerful pedagogical tools that foster active learning, critical thinking, and collaborative engagement. The second one was the panel discussion. Panel discussion are valuable format for exploring complex topics, fostering dialogue, and promoting engagement among experts and audience members alike. Opposite panel. A panel discussion is a format of communication where a group expert or individual with knowledge on a particular topic engage in a conversation in front of an audience. Forum. Forum can vary depending on the context in which it is used. It generally implies a space for open communication, dialogue, and the exchange of ideas. Symposium. A symposium is a formal meeting or conference where experts or individuals with knowledge in a specific field gather to discuss and present information on a particular topic. And the last one is group discussion. A group discussion is a communication activity where a small group of individuals, often ranging from 5 to 10 people, come together to discuss a specific topic. And we come now on the techniques on how to start group discussion. The first one was matching partner. This is particularly relevant in collaborative settings where effective communication and rapport among group members are important. The second one was incomplete attendance. Incomplete attendance in the context of group discussions, you mean that not all members of a group are present or actively participating. This could have several implications. Emotional tone pictures was the third one. Refers to images that have distinct emotional quality or atmosphere. The fourth one was the challenging question. Challenging question is to stimulate critical thinking, encouraging thoughtful response, and foster a deeper understanding of subject matter. The fourth one was reaction to specific word. To consider the nature of group or individual you are working with and tailor the technique to suit the context and purpose of the interaction. The last one is brainstorming. Brainstorming is a creative problem-solving technique that involves generating a large number of ideas in a short period.
The next is laboratory method. This method utilizes the principle of learning to do by doing, thus providing for the development of manipulative skills and managerial skills and acquisition of motor techniques. So here's the three types of laboratory techniques. The first one is productive type. The second one is the experimental type, or the procedure of experimental or scientific method. And the last one is the observation type. Here's the steps in the laboratory method. The first one is the planning, the second one is the executing, and the last one is the evaluating. Next is the lecture method. This method utilizes telling as a means of instructions. Here's the types of lecture. The first one is the pure lecture, the next one is the lecture discussion, and the last one is the illustrated lecture. So what is pure lecture? Pure lecture demonstrated by the teacher. The next one is the lecture discussion, which interferes with discussion by the group. The last one is the illustrated lecture. Illustrated lecture accompanied by some forms of visual materials presented to be seen and looked over. Here's the advantages and uses of lecture method. So what are the advantages and uses of a lecture method? So here's economy of time, attention, preparation and presentation, vitalization, motivation, clarity and enrichment, and the last one is the speech habits. Here's the dangers and limitation of the lecture method. The teacher may talk too much. The next is the poorly planned and poorly done oral presentation waste time. The next is the lecture invites positivity instead of active participation. The next is the ineffective lectures fails to hold interest and attention of students and is up to increase difficulties. The next is the teachers likely to reduce the lecture to a dictation exercises, and the last one is the lecture is likely to be poorly adapted to the apperception ability of the students.
Problem approach. It is called by many names such as problem solving, reflective thinking, and scientific method. It means guiding students into life experiences in which they will encounter real problem to solve, and then guiding them into the solution of this problem and to be solved intelligently. So, problem approach it is a student-centered approach kung saan nakafocus tayo sa kakayanan ng student na mag-acquire ng sariling understanding and knowledge. Dito is binibigyan natin ang students ng certain problem at hahayaan natin silang masolve ito into their own way at makakatulong na magamit nila ito or ma-apply in real life situation. And pagkatapos nito ay kailangan pa rin natin silang i-guide para makuha nila yung tamang sagot. Then, there are steps in problem solving, which is state the problem, collect data, organize data, analyze the data, draw conclusion, and test the conclusions. Project method. The method is a significant practical unit of a problematic nature planned and carried to completion by the students in a natural manner and solving the use of physical materials to complete the unit of experience. So, project method is nagagamit ng mga learners ang sarili nilang ideas para ma-execute ang certain project. It is emphasizes the concept of learning by doing. Through this, na-enhance ang skills ng learners by actively participating or involved in the project. So there are steps in project method. We have the purposing, planning, executing, and judging. Aim or purpose of question and answer method of teaching. Stimulate interest and bring about a new organization of the data. To encourage independent thinking and analysis of the material covered by the question. To keep students by new implication in this discussion to secure information. One of the most important phases of the teaching process in the art of questioning. Question and answer method. Through this method, nakakagawa or nagkakaroon tayo ng mga bagong idea sa pagpapalitan ng information. Syempre, by asking the students, nakukuha natin kung yung students ba is na-analyze niya or may naintindihan sila sa lessons or discussion. And also, through this, mas na-point out natin yung punto or yung gusto nating ipahiwatig kasi nga ay nakapagpapalitan tayo ng sagot at tanong. So, mas napapalawak yung cover ng lesson and mas na-apply natin in a certain problem. This also help and encourage the students to correct their misconception and understand the concept by themselves.
So these are the points to be considered in framing and asking questions. First, be brief and definite so that only one meaning is possible. So ask questions in a way that has a clear and straightforward answer and avoiding confusion. Second, use language within the comprehension of the student. So you have to use words and phrases that students can easily understand. Third, use correct grammar. So speak and ask questions using proper language rules. Fourth, vary the type of questions, not always who. So mix up the way you ask questions. Don't always ask who. Use different words like what, why, or how. Fifth, present a problem which the students have some possibilities of solving. So give questions or problems that students can figure out with what they already know. Sixth, relate unfamiliar elements to familiar elements. Connect new things to things students already know to make learning easier. 7. Ask questions that will stimulate thinking, not simply call for a yes or a no or a one-word answer. So pose questions that make students think and explain, not just say yes or no. 8. Address the entire class before one student is called for a reply. So talk to the whole class before picking one student to answer to keep everyone involved. 9th, repeat the question only when necessary. Say the question again only if someone needs more help understanding it. 10. Never conduct in a routine order of calling students in an alphabetical order. Don't always pick students in the same order. Mix it up to keep things interesting. 11. Teachers should consider individual differences, and questions should be within the capabilities of the students called upon to answer. You have to think about how different students learn and ask questions that each student can answer based on what they know. 12. Don't ask pumping questions. You have to avoid asking questions just to get information. Ask questions that help students really understand. And lastly, don't grade students while answering questions. Don't give grades or judge students while they're answering questions. Keep it a safe space for learning. Next is characteristics of good questions. First is they should be interrogative in form, not declarative. So ask questions using words like who, what, where, when, why, or how. These words help make the question clear and ask for information. Second, they should bring out the subject matter in order of dependency or logical relationship, if such exists. So arrange your questions in a way that makes sense and follows a logical order. If one question leads to another, ask them in that order. Third, they should not be the end in themselves, but should carry the thought forward. Questions are like stepping stones. Each question should lead to more understanding or more questions. They help keep the conversation or learning going. Fourth, they should call up associated facts. When you ask a question, it should make people think about related information. For example, if you ask about a plant, it might make people think about where it grows, what it needs to grow, or how it's used. Remember, good questions are like keys that unlock information and understanding. They guide conversations and learning, helping everyone involved to think more deeply about a topic. Cooperative learning approach. This is an approach where students work as a team in learning academic content and skills to address social and human relation goals and objectives. So there are some aspects of cooperative learning approach. First, academic achievement. This means doing well in school. With cooperative learning, students work together in groups to help each other understand and learn, so everyone has a better chance of doing their best in class. Next is aims to improve students' performance. The goal is to make students better at their school tasks. When they work together, they can help each other understand things and get better grades. Next, allows peer tutoring. Peer tutoring means students teaching each other. In cooperative learning, students become like teachers for each other, explaining things and making sure everyone understands. And then next is acceptance of diversity. This is about understanding and respecting differences. In cooperative learning, students learn to appreciate and accept each other's unique qualities and backgrounds, making the learning environment more inclusive. And lastly, social skill development. Social skills are how we interact with others. Cooperative learning helps students get better at working with their classmates, talking with each other, and solving problems together. So, cooperative learning is a way for students to help each other do well in school. They work together, teach each other, appreciate differences, and become better at working as a team while making learning more fun and interactive. Next, we have the basic principles of cooperative learning. So, there are five basic principles. First, face-to-face heterogeneous learning teams. This means students work together in small groups, sitting face-to-face. Heterogeneous means the groups have students with different abilities and strengths, so everyone in the group brings something unique to the team. Second, positive interdependence. Positive interdependence is when everyone in the group needs each other to succeed. It's like saying, we're all in this together. So if one person does well, it helps everyone in the group. Third is individual accountability. This principle says that each student is responsible for their own learning. Even though they work in a group, everyone has their own tasks and is accountable for doing their part. Fourth, explicit training in interpersonal skills. Explicit training means students are taught directly about how to work well with others. They learn how to talk to each other, listen, and solve problems together. It's like training for teamwork. Fifth is reflection. Reflection means thinking about what you've learned or experienced. In cooperative learning, students take some time to think about how will their group work together and what they learned from the experience. So now, let's explain each desirable principle of cooperative learning groups. First, the clarifier. A clarifier is someone who helps make things clear. If something is confusing, this person explains it in a way that everyone can understand. Next is the tension reliever. A tension reliever is someone who helps calm down any stress or nervous feelings in the group. They make sure everyone feels comfortable and at ease. Next one is the contributor. A contributor is someone who adds their ideas and thoughts to the groups. They actively participate by sharing what they know or think about the topic. And next is the checker. A checker is someone who makes sure that group's work is correct. They review and double check to ensure accuracy in what the group is doing. And the next one is listener. A listener is someone who pays attention when others are talking. They listen carefully to what everyone in the group has to say. Next is the gopher. A gopher is someone who helps gather information or materials for the group. They might go and get things the group needs to complete their work. The summarizer. A summarizer is someone who puts together a short version of what the group was discussed. They highlight the key points and make sure everyone understands. And lastly, the encourager. An encourager is someone who motivates and supports the group. They cheer on their classmates, offering positive words to keep everyone motivated. So, these roles in cooperative learning groups help each person contribute in a specific way. Whether it's explaining things clearly, keeping everyone calm, sharing ideas, checking for accuracy, listening well, assisting with tasks, summarizing discussions, or providing encouragement, each role is valuable for the group's success. Together, they make a strong and effective team.
Cooperative learning methods. What is cooperative learning method? So, this is the process of cooperative learning involves students working together in a small groups on a structured activity. The members of the group learn to work as a team to accomplish a specific goal, to solve a problem, to complete a project, or to develop a product. So, now let's proceed to the first, which is the Students' Teams Achievement Division or STAD by Slavin, 1996. So, this is the heterogeneous team using devices to master the academic materials, and then students help each other learn the materials through tutoring, quizzing one another, and or carrying on team discussion. So, STAD is a cooperative learning strategy in which a small group of learners with different levels of ability work together to accomplish a shared learning goal. It was devised by Robert Slavin and his associates at Johns Hopkins University. So next, Team Games Tournaments, TGT by Slavin. So this teaching strategy uses the same team's instructional format and worksheet as STAD, but students play academic games in weekly tournament instead of quizzes. So this learning method, students learn in a small group consists of 4 to 5 people who have different abilities and backgrounds to achieve the learning outcome. So in terms, Games Tournament or TGT, students play games with the other team's member to get points for their own team scores. Next is Jigsaw by Elliot. This is strategy wherein each member of a team works on a specific material, but with the member of the other team working with the same materials after individual work on their respective material, they will return to their home team and teach the other member what they have learned. So the jigsaw strategy divides large amounts of text into manageable chunks that student works collaboratively to understand and explain to their classmates. So it's interactive, purposeful, promotes student-led discussion, and is a fun way to learn. Next, the learning together. So this is a strategy where students working a heterogeneous group complete a single group product, share ideas and help each other with answer, and ask for help from each other before asking the teacher, and the teacher praise and reward the group on the basis of the group performance. So learning together use the power of peer teaching to create positive, even amazing changes in students and schools. So when two struggling students work together, they accomplish more than either can alone. The older tutor learns by teaching, and the younger tutor has a safe place to practice a new skill. So next, multiple intelligence. So this is an approach that aims to develop or enhance the individual's different phases of intelligence and equally recognize and value them. The approach is based on the theory that intelligence is not unitary but multidimensional, and in the real world, an individual's activities involve a blend of different intelligence. So the multiple intelligence teaching strategy. So teachers can use multiple intelligence in the classroom for the benefit of their students by customizing lesson, classroom layouts, and assignments for this multiple intelligence. So the multiple intelligence are linguistic intelligence, spatial intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, bodily kinetic intelligence, musical intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, and interpersonal intelligence. That's all of my report. What is integrative approach? In the book, it is explained as a well-organized strategy anchored on real-life situations that includes learners' interests and needs, creating a variety of meaningful activities and learning experiences. That is the definition of integrative approach. But in the perspective of the learner, is simply an approach where the learning brings together some prior knowledge and experiences prior, or past experience. So by doing this, learners dwell on their skills and apply them to new experiences at a more complex level. And now we are going to proceed to the objectives of integrative teaching strategies. So, one of its objectives is to foster security and satisfaction. It is attained by developing the students a feeling of that belonging and acceptance of each other as members of a group. Another is to promote cooperative learning that is achieved by having pupils and teachers plan together. And number 3 is to help develop sense of values is by fostering an atmosphere in the classroom that enables pupils to involve aesthetic standards and spiritual values and other virtues. Another of its objectives is to help develop self-direction. This is done through a teacher's developing in the child the ability to control his or her own affairs on his or her own emotions. So, another is to foster creativity. It is by developing self-expression through art, music, dramatic, etc., as well as the social, scientific, and literary fields. People should be given the freedom to select the media that they want to make use in expressing themselves. And another of its objectives to provide opportunities for a social action, which is done to the teacher is making use of all opportunities to develop in child the willingness to cooperate with the members of his/her group for common good. And lastly, it is to help evaluate learning to evaluate the progress in all phases of learning so that the pupils in the group are properly guided. So let's move on the steps in creating a thematic teaching strategy. So these are the few steps into creating a thematic teaching strategy. So step number 1 is to design a theme. So this theme shall be a theme that will allow all group members to enter the integration process. Simply put, there is no one that could be left behind. So step number 2 is to identify the major concept of the topic. So this has to serve as the suitable common thread for the study. And the step number 3 is you have to connect the topics for a study. And step number 4 is to brainstorming. Expectations or brainstorm essential understanding from each learner to gather their expectations. And the step number 5 is to brainstorm essential questions that will facilitate the study towards the essential understanding or what we have gathered in the step number 4. The step number 6 is to list the skills to be developed. In the step number 7 is to write activities for each week. And for step number 8 is to write culminating performances to how the depth of learning. And the last step is to design scoring grades. It may be a criteria and standard to perform the performance task so that it's all about the thematic teaching.